Hello, my name is Lenny and welcome to my channel. What is happening? Today I'm going to be reacting to a video that was suggested to me by one of my subscribers about multiple channels called Primitive Builders Being Fake by SunnyV2. From the get-go, I will tell you that I have seen these kind of videos before where one or two random people go around building beautiful houses with the most incredible pool in the middle of the nowhere in only 2 days. Right, Hembruski? Yeah. That's right. And for many people, that might look impressive, but not for me. What about for you? Yeah. Yeah? Of course. Because I already knew that these videos were fake and that these primitive builders are not legit. And their channels are basically a huge scam. If I can, I'm going to be straightforward. I'm going to call it a huge scam because um, if if you have any construction knowledge, you can tell if they are legit or not. And because they do a few things that you are like, that's not possible. That's not believable. Like when they use mud to create concrete, mixing mud with water and rocks and some other stuff. That's not how concrete. That's not how cement work. Uh, and also the water and some other stuff. But I will check this video, and maybe I'll be stopping and explaining. I work construction before, so I have some knowledge. And right now I'm creating some videos with me building some stuff and working with concrete with cement. So I'll post this video later on so you guys can see what I'm talking about. What impresses me the most is not that they are fake, is the amount of people that believe these primitive builders are legit. And the amount of views that these primitive builders, their channels gets per video, that impresses me the most, not the fact that they are fake. Because like I say, I already knew that they were fake, that they are not real. Like I said, a huge scam. But anyways, I would say from 90 to 95% of these channels are fake, are not real. Maybe one or two are real, but I haven't seen one yet that looks real or realistic. But anyways, I'm going to react to this video because it was suggested to me by one of my subscribers. Uh, honestly, I don't need to hear what SunnyV2 has to say about these channels because I already said that I already know and I knew that they were fake, that they are not real. But I'm going to react to this video anyways. So let's find out, or let's hear what SunnyV2 has to say about these primitive builders and their channels. So let's do it now.
Almost every single primitive building channel is underpinned by countless different lies, and we've got tons of evidence to prove it. Now we need to put an emphasis on the fact that this is most primitive building channels and certainly not all of them. After sifting through forum post upon forum post about the ways in which these primitive builders lie in order to generate sometimes up to 500 million views per video, users continue to mention one name over and over, crediting him as legitimate amongst the sea of phonies: Primitive Technology. The 10.4 million subscriber channel, which is run by an Australian named John Plant, basically invented the primitive construction genre, all the way down to the sound design of silence mixed with rainforest noises, with Primitive Technology even stating in a Reddit AMA that originally it was out of laziness in not putting narration in the videos, but then the silent format became popular, so I kept it that way. When going back to the beginning of these silent relaxing videos, it becomes pretty obvious as to why they're credited as seeming pretty legit in terms of authenticity. Primitive Technology cuts no corners in showing how each stage of the construction is completed legitimately. For example, when examining his very first video, he shows the axe head being sharpened, a log then being cut by the axe, then the logs being crafted together in a way that feels realistic. All of this is accompanied by specific captions explaining what's going on in that very moment, alongside a full description of the build, all the way down to how long the construction process took. These builds never include swimming
Wow,
pools or
9
anything
months.
over the top, yet feel impressive as they seem to be on the cutting edge of what is and isn't
9 months just to build that.
by hand. The legitimacy of some of his more impressive builds, such as this brick.
Right here you can tell that he's using mud mixed with water to put those bricks together. Where in all the videos they use mud with water and mixed with rocks and some other stuff. And you can clearly tell that it's not mud, that is real cement. So that's how I knew that these primitive builders, they were real. They were fake. A huge scam. Okay, let's keep watching.
Cut can be supported by YouTube comments such as this one, which stated, "I actually know John personally. He was a really good friend. We live in the same town, although I haven't seen him since he went viral. I have fond memories of him telling us that he was building huts out bush and had no idea they were so legit, before going on to credit him as a pretty authentic guy from a personal relationship standpoint." All of this is incredibly important to understand, as Primitive Technology's videos set a baseline for what should and shouldn't be achievable in a natural setting. Additionally, Primitive Technology has been kind enough to provide us with a statement, which will be referred to as we look at the channels on the other end of the spectrum, also known as the fakers.
The fakers.
The fundamental problem with the genre is that with so much time between camera cuts, there's plenty of time to set things up illegitimately. And with Primitive Technology's very first video receiving over 44,000 Reddit upvotes and 30 million views, it's no surprise that copycats with less integrity began to pop up left, right, and center. On these channels, the buildings were taller, the slides were longer, and the water was suspiciously more blue.
And it's a weird blue colour. Why is it so blue? Probably because they're probably putting dye in or something. There's no reason for it to look so blue like that.
Even more interestingly, almost
There's no reason for the water to be blue. Not even blue at all. Not even clear water. Because like I said, if you are using mud mixed with water and rocks and some other stuff to create cement, concrete, instead of swimming in blue water, they should be swimming in brown water, or like Peppa the pig will say, jumping up and down in muddy puddles, splish, splash, splosh, splash, splosh.
all of these channels range from the exact same area, being Cambodia, Thailand, or Vietnam, yet often geotag the United States, claim to be living in the United States, and have their social blade country set to the United States. The overall production and build quality on these channels is arguably far more impressive than the OG Primitive Technology, to the point where you have to ask yourself, are they really creating these structures out of mud and sticks? Well, when you do a little bit of research, the answer to this question is most certainly no. The best evidence for this is found when looking at a 5 million subscriber channel called Primitive Technology Idea, whose failure to cover up the ways in which they fake their videos make them almost comical to watch. Take for example this episode titled "Building Underground Water Maze, Crocodile to the Secret Underground House and Swimming Pool," in which the first shot shows 2 men digging on the surface, then in the next frame they're in an 8-foot deep trench.
One day I was watching one of these videos with my dad, and he said one day to me, these people are digging these trenches with sticks, and how they are avoiding rocks and the roots, because if they are in the forest, they should be at least roots on the ground. And I was like, I don't know, that's a good question. I thought about this. I was thinking the same thing, you know. Okay. Oh, also, he said they never sweat. Like they're never sweating. Like if they're digging and doing all this, they should be sweating like a lot, and they should be strong, like Jack strong, like Hulk smash.
Now, if they're digging this deep with sticks, how are they avoiding large rocks and potential tree roots from, you know, the massive line of trees seen just behind them? Are they being assisted by large machinery? Well, we'll get to that in a little bit, but first, let's focus on the idea that it's only 2 people doing these impressively large primitive construction projects. If that's what they were attempting to portray, it probably would have been best not to include the clip where a guy in a white t-shirt can be seen working on the project in the background. Yet, if it were just these 3 guys, that still wouldn't be that bad. However, further evidence suggests that they are far more
See, right here you can see that that's not muddy water. That's not mud with rocks, mixed with rocks and whatever else. That is real concrete. That's cement.
than this. At the start of the week, a community post was made on this channel in the hope that someone who had worked with one of these primitive builders would be willing to share their experience in doing so. We received countless emails which were all super helpful, yet one email stood out as being incredibly unique. That email was incredibly from one of the cameramen who works for one of these larger Southeast Asian primitive building channels. His name and the channel he works for have both been blurred out, as it'd be a little unfair for him to get in trouble for simply trying to help out, but the email began by stating, "As you may have suspected, it's not as streamlined as the video would suggest. It is a large operation, as you may suspect, with a large team of us behind it." After he then offered to answer any questions we had about their channel, we attempted to figure out how many different people will work on the actual construction part of the project from start to finish, to which he would respond, "It is depending on the scale of the project, but no less than 1 dozen or more," before going on to explain that within his team, there is a director for the acting done. There is also a hired architect to obviously make sure the structure will not collapse and will last long enough to
Of
film in,
course.
and obviously afterwards many editors are involved. In case an email from
Hello.
someone who works from one of these primitive builders isn't enough evidence, it's time to introduce a different channel called Photo Expression, who incredibly stumbled upon one of these primitive construction sites before capturing over 8 minutes of footage with a drone. We'll refer to different parts of this footage throughout our video, but for now it can answer the question of how many people are really working on these sites. There's initially a clip where 8 different workers can be seen standing around a rectangular hole in the jungle, followed by another grainier clip from a
Like I
far
say,
distance where somewhere between 7 and 10
huge,
people can be seen
scam.
building a swimming pool. If they were
These
honest about
people,
how
they
many
made,
people were working on each project, it
they
probably
make
wouldn't be that big of a
lots of
deal.
money,
But it should be noted that
millions of
some of these
dollars
videos specifically state in
with
the
these
description
videos.
that I've been working
The
hard
amount
with
of
my 2
subscribers
friends
and
about
likes
100 days to completely build, when in reality
and
it's a
views.
whole team working for only 3 to 10 days depending on the project, as mentioned
It's
in the
not
email
fair for
response
those
from the
who are
cameraman.
legit.
So if they're being untruthful about the time period as well as how
And
many
sadly,
people are
YouTube is
working
full
on
of
each
these type of
project, what else are they
people.
lying about? Well, how about the incredible
There you go.
fire pits that they seem to create effortlessly? Going back to the statement made to us by Primitive Technology, he seemed to imply that maybe the fire making in their videos was fake. It's hardly surprising that he brought this up, as when you compare his meticulous method of creating fire in the wild to the fire making of these Southeast Asian primitive channels, as mentioned previously, it becomes comical. They slap a couple of rocks together before beginning an explosive fire on large logs with no kindling whatsoever. John went on to state that if they've faked simpler things, then they're most certainly faking more complicated ones, which turns out to be true, as when looking
Well, I don't know if I would call that fake. You never know. Maybe they hire Michael Bay to do the fire. And just saying. Kaching, kaching. By the way, I'm with my family. I'm on vacation. I'm in California right now on our family beach house. So sorry for uh, the kids and the interaction and all that. So, anyways,
at another video by Primitive Technology Idea, it becomes obvious that not only are these guys faking simple things such as fire, these guys are also faking the most labor-intensive exercise of all, the digging process itself.
that is true. If they're faking small things like this, what prevent these primitive builders from faking everything, basically? What else are they faking?
This video with over 63 million views begins as most do. A shirtless guy draws a big circle and begins to dig it out. Only in the next frame, suddenly there's spray paint on the ground that they forgot to rub out. Additionally, on the wall of the hole, these long smooth cuts can be seen which are completely incomparable to the cuts being made by the stick. Well, there's a reason for this. Turns out spray paint marks weren't the only thing that they forgot to rub out, as in the minutes that follow, excavated tracks can be seen here, 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 and here. In a different video by the same channel, the same person can be seen working very hard digging out a similar hole, which to their credit contains no excavator tracks around it. One mistake they did make, however, was that they forgot to take the actual excavator out of the top right hand corner. According to the email sent to us by the cameraman on one of these channels, approximately 70% of the digging is completed by machinery,
That
whilst
makes
30%
sense.
is completed by hand, given how much of the work lies in
They claim that these people they claim that they build these amazing homes and with a water pool in only 2 days, and you can see from cut to cut, like it's like back to back, like they're building. They don't tell you like 1 day, 2 days. No, they just like back to back, and they're like done. Yay! They go eat something, drink something, and they're like the next. They go back to work, and they're like, oh, we're done, we're finished. Yay! It's like huge scam. Hmm. Well,
digging. But men still do plenty of digging. As you may guess, in small underground spaces, it is impossible to fit a skid steer loader in the hole. Most of the actual construction is done by a hired team of specialized builders from my understanding, and they work with only intrinsic tools. The dirt is removed by skid steer loaders and offloaded elsewhere, and skid steer loaders are used in the initial boring process, whilst incrementally we film the builders doing superficial works on the hole. The video in which the excavator can be seen in plain sight then goes on to strangely display the collection of concrete from a river, which is the exact same clip reused
concrete
from the
from a
previous
river.
video. Now, why would they reuse the same clip twice in two different videos? Well, it's because collecting concrete from a river is completely and utterly bogus. Concrete doesn't grow in a river, according to a civil engineer who had commented on one of these videos. Earth cement, this is incredibly fake. Cement requires a precise combination of different raw materials and then receives considerable heat treatment in order to make the powder we all know and love / hate. What's even
And that is true because I worked with cement. I already said I worked with cement before, and I love it, but I hate it at the same time. It can be rough in your hands, in your body. It can go through your nostrils, everywhere, and you can uh, wash yourself, like keep washing yourself, and you can spend like maybe a week or maybe 2 weeks with your hands still like stiff and hard, and your skin very dry. Imagine what it does to your lungs. And these people claiming that they're building, creating a cement from muddy water, mud with water, muddy water, pig by pig. Peppa Pig will be proud, not me. Anyways,
funnier is that every single one of these channels has their own unique method for creating natural concrete. This channel's concrete is simply a mix of dirt and water, which, if you think about it for 2 seconds, doesn't create concrete and rather creates muddy water or
muddy
mud,
water,
which is just dirt
mud,
after the water
Peppa
dries.
Pig.
This other channel gets a little bit more creative with it by taking a chunk out of a termite nest, grinding it down into powder, mixing it with water, then concreting an entire pool with this small chunk of termite nest. Yet neither of these compare to the fakest channel of them all, Primitive Technology Life, which decides to just skip the concrete altogether and go with good old rocks and dirt. However, that's
And I
not
know
the
there's
only
some
suspicious thing about this
places,
shot. You'll notice
some
when looking at the bamboo that each
countries, some
branch has a
places that they build
suspiciously clean
houses
cut
with
in the
mud.
end. Compare this to Primitive Technology, the legitimate channel
But
from Australia,
those are
when one
in
video
areas
displays
where
what the
it
end of the
doesn't
hole
rain
should
that
actually
often.
look like, and
But
you'll
when
notice
it
pretty
rains,
quickly that these
it's a
pieces
problem.
of bamboo weren't naturally cut on site. These pieces of bamboo weren't either, which, as displayed in the video, were attached together then used to siphon water from a river to the pool. Only there was no river. Photo Expression found the exact site of this pool, then stated in his video that in reality, the closest water source was more than 6 kilometers away. Instead, he found a bunch of blue plastic piping attached to a tap in the ground. Going back to the email from the cameraman, the water for their channel just comes in cubic containers that is transported there. A very funny part is any scene where you see them sourcing water from some magnificent waterfall or lake, they're actually going somewhere perhaps hundreds of kilometers away and pretending to take it back. The video in which Photo Expression had stumbled upon various completed primitive builds also showed that after these channels are finished building, the sites are simply left to rot. This video doesn't speak for every Southeast Asian primitive building channel, but in this particular case, rubbish was left everywhere, including, as you might guess, cement bags. The fact that the videos are fake isn't the most concerning, it's the destruction of the land that's concerning. Now, if this was public rainforest, you could probably consider this a pretty big deal, but according to the cameraman's email, at least on their channel, every build is done on privately owned land, which is leased for the purposes of the video. If this is the case, maybe Photo Expression is in the wrong for snooping around and filming on someone else's property. We're kidding, of course, but if the builds are being completed on privately owned land, it's a little narcissistic to comment on what they should and shouldn't do with it. Primitive Technology, the original legitimate Australian channel, put it best in his email to us when he said, "My advice to people who really want to know if the techniques on display are legitimate is to put them into practice and see. If you can follow the steps and get a similar result, then it's probably legit." He added that these corner cutting channels are motivated by money and status alone, rather than a true interest in primitive technology. But wanting to stay out of internet drama, will leave it up to the discerning viewer to decide what's real and what's not.
All right. All right, it's over. So, like I said, I didn't need to listen to what SunnyV2 had to say about these channels. I already knew that they were fake. Um, you can tell, like I say, if you have some construction knowledge, uh, you would tell that these channels are not legit, that they are fake. Most everything that they do is not possible. Um, so yeah, like I said from at the beginning, the they are a huge scam, and YouTube has many of these channels. There are hundreds of these channels on YouTube. Uh, I seen primitive builders. I seen that I, I, I have seen their videos before. There's another one with a lady. It's a lady, and if you notice, most of the time they are from Cambodia, Thailand, some sort of country, and they claim that it's here in the U.S. in California, which I am right now, which I really doubt that uh, the authorities here in California will allow something like this. If it's private land, yes, but I don't think that you can mess with the water, with the river. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. But if they're doing a private land, I'm not going to comment about that because it's private, and if they are paying, they can do whatever they want. But if it's public land, I really that I doubt it. Anyways, that's it for this video. Thank you to my subscriber for suggesting me this video. I hope you enjoy it, and all of you also enjoy. I hope you enjoy my reaction to this video. For those who hasn't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Help me reach the 1,000 subscribers. And once again, I'm sorry for all the interruption and stuff behind. I'm on vacation. My family, we are in the beach house right now. So thank you for watching, and see you next time. So yeah.